Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're continuing our college football bowl game predictions today, and we only have 9 bowl games left before the national championship on January 8th, and 4 of those games will be played tomorrow, December 30th. So we're going to go ahead and break down those 4 games for you, share our predictions and analysis. And our 4 games for this Saturday are the Tax Slayer Bowl between Louisville and number 23 Mississippi State, the Liberty Bowl between Iowa State and number 20 Memphis, the Fiesta Bowl between number 11 Washington and number 9 Penn State, and the Orange Bowl between number 6 Wisconsin and number 10 Miami. So all very good bowls, and our last 2 here are both New Year's 6 bowls, which will obviously be very exciting and very fun to watch. So we'll go ahead and start up here with the Tax Slayer Bowl between the Louisville Cardinals and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. As you all know, Mississippi State lost their head coach, Dan Mullen. He went ahead and took the job at Florida, so that's obviously a big loss for them, and you never know how teams are going to play when their head coach leaves. Also, they lost their star quarterback, Nick Fitzgerald, in the season finale against Ole Miss. They, of course, lost that game. It was a close one, 31-28. But without Nick Fitzgerald, I don't know how they're going to fare against this Louisville team. They're going to have to rely on Keaton Thompson, their backup quarterback. Now, he's had tons of time to prepare for this. He played in that Ole Miss game. He's had bowl practices to prepare for the Tax Slayer Bowl. But how will he fare against Bobby Petrino and his Louisville team? And, of course, we all know the big storyline at Louisville is quarterback Lamar Jackson playing his final game with the Cardinals. He's going to probably have a big day against the Bulldogs, and he's going to be the key if Louisville wants to win this game. Louisville's missing some key players on the defensive side of the ball, so will they be able to stop the Mississippi State offense, which I expect will rely on the run game quite a bit. That's going to be the key here. Louisville's Lamar Jackson is really going to have a big day on his final game of his career if they want to win this Tax Slayer Bowl to complete a 9-win season. I think they're going to do that. I think the Cardinals are going to go in there and get the job done. I just think everything that's been going on with Mississippi State these past few weeks, losing their coach, losing their quarterback, team might be a little down on themselves. I think Louisville goes in there, catches them a little off guard, and gets the win. And then the Liberty Bowl between Iowa State and number 20 Memphis. As you all know, I missed Iowa State, missed the mark on them this season, had them going 2-10, and yes, they went 7-5, and didn't really expect much out of them this season, but they played very well. We started to see that when they defeated Oklahoma early in the season. That was a huge win for them. And then we found out that, of course, that was not a fluke when they went ahead and beat TCU at Iowa State. So they had a very successful season. It could have been a little bit better. A couple of close losses here and there. Could have had an 8 or 9 win season, but 7-5 is very exciting for Cyclones fans. So we're going to have to see how they play here. Kyle Kemp's back at quarterback. We know he played in the season finale, but of course he'll be a little bit healthier here in this game. And then Alan Lazard, as we all know, playing a great wide receiver. He's been a monster for the Cyclones this season. I'm really excited to see how he goes up against this Memphis defense, who really, as I saw, it's kind of like those Big 12 defenses Iowa State has gone up against fairly weak, lets up a bunch of yards, lets up a bunch of points. But we know Memphis has a very strong offense side of the ball. Riley Ferguson at quarterback, he's a senior playing in his last game. I'm really curious to see how he faces against this Iowa State defense, who was very good against the run. But we're going to have to see if they can do that against the pass, because I expect they're going to rely on Ferguson a lot in this game. And, of course, they also signed Mike Norvell, their head coach, to a contract extension, which helps them. Had he left for a bigger job, I would be picking Iowa State in this game. But I'm going to pick the Tigers to win this one. Keep in mind, the Liberty Bowl will be played at Memphis' home stadium, so they're going to have home field advantage. I think they have the edge at quarterback, and I like Memphis to win this game, but I expect it to be very close. Iowa State's dream season, I think, will come to an end with a 7-6 record, but expect more in the future. Iowa State, I think, could really become a contender in the Big 12 next year. And then the Fiesta Bowl between number 11 Washington and number 9 Penn State. Both of these teams have very dynamic quarterback and running back duos. Washington with Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin, and then Penn State with Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley, who early in the season we all thought was going to win the Heisman Trophy. Ended up having a couple of games down the stretch where he didn't perform the way he should. He will more than likely be playing his final collegiate game with Penn State. He's only a junior, but we expect him to leave for the NFL draft. So will Washington's defense be able to shut down Barkley in his final game? Last chance to impress NFL scouts. And if they do, can Trace McSorley pick up the slack and lead them to a victory like they almost did in the Rose Bowl last year, that instant classic against USC? And then Washington on the other side, like I said, Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin have been tearing apart defenses in the Pac-12, but they just missed out on making the Pac-12 championship game. Had they defeated Arizona State early in the season in that major upset, they probably would have played for the Pac-12 championship and had a chance to make the college football playoff for the 2nd straight year. You never want to doubt a Chris Peterson-led team. As we all know, he won the Fiesta Bowl many years ago with Boise State. Kind of how he got his start with that major upset over Oklahoma. So you never want to doubt him and his Washington team. They have the edge on the special teams, I think, with Dante Pettis returning punts. But I like James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions to go in there and win the Fiesta Bowl, getting their first New Year's Six Bowl win under James Franklin, especially after that heartbreaking defeat in the Rose Bowl last year. This is going to be a heck of a game, though. You really need to keep your eye on this. I expect this one to have tons of offense, potentially high scoring, and it's really going to come down to the wire. And the opposite would be said for the Orange Bowl between number 6 Wisconsin and number 10 Miami. I expect this to be a heavily defensive battle here. You've got the Miami defense, as we all know, have that turnover chain, forcing tons of turnovers on the season. It's kind of become a trademark for the Hurricanes. And then Wisconsin, who relied on their defense the majority of the season, had an undefeated season up until the Big Ten championship game when they lost to Ohio State and just missed out on the college football playoff. Now, as we all know, Wisconsin's quarterback Alex Hornibrook has been very turnover prone this season. That's going to really benefit this Miami defense here. But if you don't want to rely on Hornibrook too much, who's been kind of in the middle, sometimes he's really on, sometimes he's really off, they can rely on their Heisman finalist running back Jonathan Taylor, who has been playing a heck of a season for him. I'm really curious to see how he's going to go up against this Miami defense here, who's been forcing so many turnovers under Mark Richt, who really came in and transformed this program. Miami, on the other hand, has Malik Rozier at quarterback. They're hoping to avenge those last 2 losses they had to Pittsburgh in a major upset, and then Clemson, where they got annihilated in the ACC championship game. They just missed out of the college football playoff. All they had to do was win the ACC, or maybe just not even lose to Pittsburgh, and they may have been able to stay in. They weren't able to get the job done. Mark Richt, as we all know, was criticized at Georgia for not being able to win the big games. He failed to do that again this year, but he has Miami on the right track. Also, just like Memphis, this game will be played at Miami's home stadium, and I like the Hurricanes to beat the Badgers in this one. It should be fun to watch. Expect it to be low scoring, but I like Miami to go in and get the win here. They should have the crowd on their side. Really, it's going to come down to who's more motivated. Wisconsin just crushed after missing out on the college football playoff and missing out on an undefeated season. Miami, kind of the same way. They were just missing out on the college football playoff, getting beat by Pittsburgh and then just annihilated by Clemson. So who's going to have more heart in this one? Who's going to be more motivated to go in and finish the season with a New Year's Six Bowl win? I think the Hurricanes get it. I think home field advantage could be the edge in this one. So these are your 4 games here for this Saturday, December 30th. Of course, we'll take December 31st off with no college bowl games. And then on January 1st, we have 5 bowl games to round out the bowl season. And of course, those 2 playoff games that will decide who's facing off in the national championship. So get ready for these 4 games. They're all going to be really exciting, really fun to watch. So make sure you keep your eye on these. Also, we now have an Instagram page at The Gridiron Expert. Make sure you go in and check us out on there. Just The Gridiron Expert, no caps, no spaces. Hook us up, go follow us, and we got behind-the-scenes footage and everything there. Keep you up to date on all of our new videos, so make sure you watch that. Thank you for watching. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.